What is up, designers? Welcome to my Photoshop tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a map that looks like this. It's a very easy method of making it, and it can suit games very well. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a game map or a map that you would find in something like that, or you can print it out or simply use this method for other kind of designs. Because it's very easy. All you need is a set of brush that is going to be able to give you a pattern like this. And I'm going to provide the links to the brushes that I'm going to use in this video down in the description. So let's go ahead and start a new file and learn how to do this. So I'm going to create a file that looks like this, so 2000 by 2000. And then, yeah, let's start with that. Empty canvas, just gonna create a new layer. Make sure that my color is white, and then double click this new layer. Okay, and then I'm gonna select the stroke option. If you don't see the stroke option here, go down to effects, and there it should be right there. In the stroke, we can select around 5 pixels. Make sure the position is outside. Blend mode can be on multiply or normal, doesn't matter. And then, yeah, gonna select the color, maybe just to completely black, and press OK. And then with my brush tool selected, B for shortcut, I'm gonna select one of the brushes that I provide in the description below. So let's go ahead with the textured one, and just gonna enlarge the brush diameter. If you want to do the same method I'm using here, it's very simple. Just press Alt or Option and then right click on your mouse and move the mouse left to decrease the diameter, and then increase it by moving it to the right side. It's a very quick shortcut, much better than using the bracket keys for resizing, and it's also much more smooth if you want to like hit the exact number of pixels. Alternatively, you could just right click while the brush tool is selected and then resize the brush diameter here, but it's probably the longest way to do that. Anyway, I'm gonna have my brush around here, and then with my white color just gonna paint over. And as you can see, the stroke option that we selected before allows us to create this interesting layout, interesting outline. So just draw a little circle or something like that. We're basically creating the land now. And then select the eraser tool, and with the eraser tool selected, press on the right mouse button and then select the same brush that we used to paint this, so the textured one, right? Again, enlarge the brush a little bit, and then here's where the magic happens. You simply erase these little parts, and you can see that the edges look like coastlines already. You can resize your brush, and then that will have a different effect on the amount of detail. You can also zoom in, and yeah, it's really fun to do and very easy. So that's essentially the method that I use, and you can use other brushes for other kind of effects, other kind of patterns. So you can see this is a little bit more detailed. The cartoony one is probably the easiest to do with. So it has a lot of options and a lot of ways to go about it. Depends on your style of what you want to do. I'm providing these 3 brushes, but you are welcome to experiment with other brushes that you may have. And now we can move on to the next little bit, which would be the rivers, right? So most of the lands that we see have rivers. The way we draw rivers is simply select the hard round brush and make sure the diameter is something smaller than what we started, and go through the islands. So that's a little too small. Gonna undo this and use a bigger brush. Alright, so you can just draw in these little rivers, and they're gonna look like rivers. You can also make little lakes like this and make the area more interesting, and populate your map with a bunch of rivers. Just going to increase the detail on it, and so on and so forth. You're welcome to do that as much as you like. So that's about it for the base of the map. Now we're going to move on to more interesting detailed side of things, which is going to be started off with colors. So just double click the layer that we're working on right now, and the simplest way to add color or change colors is to click the color overlay here. And if you don't see that, again, go to FX and select color overlay. And here, as you can see, we can just simply add a color on top of everything, and it's not going to affect the outlines, which is great. And you can change the color instantly by selecting it from here, from pressing here. Make sure the blend mode is on normal, and yeah, opacity is on 100. And that's the easiest way to do it. But what if you wanted to, you know, have different regions of the map? So for example, we can have, you know, a forest region which is more green, a mountain region which is like more maybe gray. The way you do that is you create a new layer. So I'm going to create a new layer, and then make a clipping mask from it, right? So you can just right click, create a clipping mask, just going to sit on this layer, on the previous layer. Or if you want to do it quicker, you can press Alt or Option on your keyboard and then move your mouse in between these two layers, and you should have an icon that looks like this. Once you see that, just click with your mouse, left click it, and it's gonna sit on top of the layer. So I'm gonna select a different brush for this, something that is more interesting, maybe textured, and then yeah, I'm gonna start painting with, let's say, a red color. But as you can see, nothing happens. That's because the color overlay that previously was selected, that we created here, is overwriting everything. So if we want to draw more detailed things on the other layer, we need to disable this first. So I'm going to disable it, press OK, go back to my layer on top, and then I'm just going to paint over. This is a little bit too much maybe. Let's start with the green color, draw out a forest area, and as you can see, this is drawn within the land that we have, so it's not going over it, which is great. And then we can simply change the colors and make variations and make the map look much more interesting. So you can see how this method can be used. You can use other kinds of brushes to create different layouts, foliage, and so on and so forth. It really depends on your taste. So you can experiment with a bunch of colors, make different variations of, you know, you can have tropical areas and so on and so forth. Next up, what we can do is move on to cities. So we can add cities in a very easy way. First off, I'm gonna make sure that my background is also more interesting. So if this was an island, it would probably be on the sea. So we're gonna go ahead and select like a dark blue color, make sure the background layer is selected, and I'm gonna use the paint bucket tool, which is G for shortcut. Just click down like this, maybe change the color a little bit to be brighter, not so dark. Oh, and just another thing, going back to the first layer, you can go back to stroke and actually change the color here, and it will update automatically. So you can have this be like that. Make sure actually normal is probably better blend mode to see the results. So you can have this be a totally different color. So I'm just gonna select like our dark gray and press OK. So next up, we need to create another layer. Okay, and this layer is going to be city, and just go back to selecting the hard round brush. Make sure the city is essentially pretty small, just like a dot. We're gonna create a dot. So what we need to do here is apply the same method we used for the first layer. So just double clicking the city layer, I'm gonna enable the stroke here, press OK, and selecting maybe a white color, or you can maybe use the red color for cities. Just gonna click here, and that's going to create little city locations here and there. You can of course variate the sizes of it, so maybe if this would be the capital city, it can be bigger or smaller depending on the population. And of course you can change the colors as well, so make this into a white one. And next we need labels, so I'm gonna press T on my keyboard, which is the shortcut for text tool or type tool, and just gonna type out city 1, just or you can have the city name. Just select a nice font for it, and I think white color seems to be visible on this map, so I'm gonna bring it over here. Next, what you can do is hold down Alt or Option key, and you can see that our icon changes on the mouse, which is going to enable us to duplicate and move at the same time. So I'm gonna select this city. Make sure you don't click outside, but wherever the city is written, just click on it and drag over a copy of it and place it on top of another dot to make another city. And you can do this for all the cities that you have, just like that. And then you can select your type tool again, go back to wherever the cities are written, click it, and then you can just change the names of the cities to whatever your cities are going to be named. And that's as easy as it gets. So you can have the city names just like that. And yeah, you can change the city color, the typography color here. Just click here and select a different color. And that's about it. So that's essentially how a map is created in a very easy way. And sky is the limit here, because you can experiment, add textures on everything, you know, make some waves on the ocean, add some icons, draw little cities on it, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to cover that in this tutorial, although if you want to see a more extensive tutorial on how to make a map even more interesting and looking like a finished map, then feel free to comment down below with your requests. Thank you a lot for watching this video, and I would love to see what you come up with. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.